Like, I can't take it anymore. I can't take it anymore. Sometimes I sleep and I wonder, like, yo, this is not normal. You see crime documentaries, you see shit on social media about women getting the other day. And on the truth, like, it's like, I'm a real tough bitch. Like, I'm a tough bitch. But you can never there's a difference between being tough, and there's a difference between somebody having an unhealthy obsession with you that you have to you gotta be concerned. And I'm really starting to be concerned.
Nobody knew this whole Cardi Offset situation was about to blow up again, but everything snapped out of nowhere, like someone flipped a switch. One minute, it seemed like just another messy breakup. The next minute, the streets started buzzing with the story so wild that even the most seasoned gossip watchers had to blink twice. Suddenly, Offset's name got tied to something way bigger than hurt feelings. And that's when everybody realized this drama wasn't just emotional anymore. It was turning into something serious. Allegedly, the rumor was that Offset didn't just get jealous watching Cardi move on, he completely spiraled. People close to the situation claimed he couldn't handle seeing Cardi get comfortable with someone new, especially someone like Stefan. But the idea of him trying to take things that far, that shook everybody up. Now, Cardi's done staying quiet because she's out here saying she has actual proof, receipts showing Offset supposedly dropping a whole $100,000 to get somebody to move against Stefan. That alone had people staring at their screens like, what is going on right now? At this point, it's looking like Offset might be facing serious heat. And if any of these claims turn out to be real, he could be sitting down for a long time. The whole thing is wild because nobody expected Offset to go from ranting online about Cardi and Stefan to being tied up in something this extreme.
I can't take it anymore. I can't take it anymore. Sometimes I sleep and I wonder, like, yo, this is not normal. You see crime documentaries, you see shit on social media about women getting the other day. And on the truth, like, it's like, I'm a real tough bitch. Like, I'm a tough bitch. But you can never there's a difference between being tough, and there's a difference between somebody having an unhealthy obsession with you that you have to.
It's giving obsession vibes, and not the romantic kind. Things started snowballing even faster when an Instagram model came forward saying Offset tried to use her to set Stefan up. She dropped screenshots showing him acting tight because she refused to follow through with whatever plan he had lined up. The messages were tense. Offset is pushing her for information. She made it clear she didn't want her name tied to anything dangerous. She even claimed Offset kept popping into her phone, trying to pull her back into the situation while she was trying to distance herself. The whole thing had the internet spinning because the energy in those messages didn't look like somebody playing around. When the screenshots hit the timeline, you couldn't help thinking how strange it was for Offset to be going after Stefan through random connections like that. It made the whole situation look messy and desperate. And honestly, seeing a grown man trying to maneuver behind the scenes like that, it looked strange, especially knowing how public this whole situation already was. Then it got even darker, because reports started floating around that Offset didn't stop at trying to get Stefan caught slipping. The rumor being whispered is that he allegedly went even further, way further, by paying someone to take Stefan out completely. And that turned this whole thing from messy drama into something potentially criminal. Hearing that made everything feel different, because that kind of thing isn't lightweight drama. That's serious. The moment that part of the story surfaced, people were stunned. Even the timeline had to sit back like, this is way deeper than anyone expected. And once that detail dropped, the whole atmosphere around the situation shifted.
You gotta be concerned. And I'm really starting to be concerned. And I'm so tired because I want to detach myself from shit. And it's like, it just doesn't stop. And it's like, when does it fucking stop? I try to be nice. I try to contact family. I try to whatever, and it's not working. And I'm so tired. I'm really getting fucking so tired.
Folks started questioning how deep these issues between Offset and Cardi really go, and whether this breakup hit him harder than anyone realized. Because moving from heartbreak to something this dangerous, that's a level nobody ever expected from him. The streets couldn't stop talking after that. Everywhere you looked, people were shocked, confused, or just trying to make sense of how things escalated this far. It's like every time someone thought the story couldn't get more chaotic, a new layer popped out of nowhere. And the craziest part? It feels like we're only seeing the surface of something much bigger. The moment Offset's assistant's ex-girlfriend stepped forward, everything hit a whole new level of chaos, because she wasn't holding anything back. She claimed Offset was moving in a way that could put Stefan in danger. And she said both Stefan and Cardi needed protection immediately. Hearing that was terrifying, because she wasn't talking like someone exaggerating. She sounded like someone who had seen way too much up close.
This man sent text messages to somebody that I was dealing with me and him having sex. That's the type of shit I've been dealing with for the past 2 months. Every time he knows that I go out of town, he harasses me. He leave me voice notes, trying to put my self-esteem to the ground. And I'm so tired of it. I'm so tired of him and his girlfriend playing games on my phone, leaving explicit voice notes.
What made it even scarier was the timing. She pointed out that Offset sent one of those strange messages just a day after he made that "My Kid" laugh out loud post, which already had people confused. But the real gut punch? This type of behavior isn't something new. Cardi has been hinting for months that she doesn't feel safe around him anymore. Just weeks ago, Cardi explained that Offset kept dragging out the divorce on purpose just to make her life stressful. She said he was doing it to punish her for choosing to move forward with her life. And honestly, that tracks with the energy he's been showing. Now, imagine all this happening after she had a baby with Stefan. If things were messy before, the tension after that baby's arrival was on a whole different level. Everyone got a front row seat to how explosive things were getting when Offset posted that wild claim saying Cardi and Stefan's baby was actually his. And he dropped that post just hours after Cardi shared the birth news publicly. It was clear he wasn't taking any of this well behind the scenes. And that post seemed like a desperate attempt to stir the pot. That move pushed Cardi over the edge. She responded immediately saying, "People think this is funny, but it's not."
Because in the beginning, I get it. Offset made songs. I expected that from Offset. I expected a diss track. I expected that. I also expected his broke ass to ask for money because his album flopped and he got too many kids to take care of. So I expected that. I did not expect for him to joke around and make claims to Cardi and Stefan Diggs' child. I did not expect that shit. That is really weird. That's really crazy. That's really like off-putting. But now this man is trying to backdoor Stefan Diggs. Amp up your security, Stefan. Amp up your security, Cardi. This man is going borderline Lifetime movie, network movie.
She went on explaining that for over a year, she had been dealing with nonstop harassment and threats to the point where she felt like her safety was in danger. She warned that people laugh until things turn serious. And she wasn't wrong. Cardi even hinted that she had receipts that could embarrass him in ways he wouldn't recover from. She said people will do anything for attention, and she made it clear that one upload could expose everything. Then she told him straight up to leave her alone because she was done being pushed around. From the way things look, Offset acting threatening isn't some random moment. Cardi made it clear that this behavior has been happening for a long time. She said everything started with him playing mind games, trying to keep control even when the relationship was already falling apart. According to her, he would intentionally push her to break down and then try to flip the story to make her look unstable. She said he was trying to manipulate the whole narrative, hoping people would believe she was emotional and out of control, while he pretended to be calm. But Cardi wasn't letting that slide anymore. At one point, she even snapped back, telling him, "You are going to sign these divorce papers," because she was tired of him stalling and twisting everything. Things got even more tense when Offset tried to call her single and miserable, and Cardi fired right back with a sharp clapback. She told him she wasn't miserable at all. He was just upset because she finally stepped outside and started living again. She added that other men not trying to chase her had nothing to do with her worth and everything to do with how he used to talk down on her, reminding him that he once said she had 3 kids in her 30s.
Model claims Offset wanted her to set up Stefan Diggs. So you got this IG model exposing her and Offset's DM messages. I'm starting to believe some of these celebrity dudes is slow, because how many times is these joints gonna expose these niggas' messages before they stop?
Every time Cardi speaks on this situation, the picture gets clearer and darker. And the more details drop, the more it looks like this breakup triggered tensions that were never really handled the right way. It's turning into something bigger than just a messy split. This is something that clearly needs intervention before it escalates any further. Cardi didn't hold back when she clapped back at Offset, making it clear she wasn't miserable at all, as he tried to claim. She explained that she wasn't stressing about any woman he spent time with. The real problem was him popping into the messages of every man she even spoke to. She said that every time she tried to talk to someone new, Offset would slide into their DMs, trying to stir things up and talk down on her, acting territorial even though they were already done. In another moment, Cardi opened up about something way more serious. She admitted she was scared for her own safety. She said she felt like she might end up on one of those crime documentary shows. And she didn't say it for drama. She said it because she truly felt unsafe with the way things were unfolding. Hearing that from her made everything sound way more alarming than people originally thought. And now, instead of focusing on Cardi, it looks like Offset shifted his attention and started going after Stefan. This raised even more concern. People who've been watching this situation unfold from the beginning could already tell something was off about the way Offset was acting towards Stefan. And over time, it only kept getting worse. One of the most shocking claims came when Cardi said Offset had been sending Stefan some extremely personal videos of her and Offset from back when they were still married. She said these recordings were private moments from the past. But Offset tried to twist the story to make it look like Cardi was sneaking around behind Stefan's back. It was a messy move, and it had everybody stunned. Cardi spoke on it and made it clear what those videos really were, and her tone said everything. She wasn't about to let Offset rewrite the story. Offset clearly thought he was doing something with that stunt, but it didn't land the way he expected, because Stefan didn't fall for it or distance himself from Cardi at all. He stood firm, and Offset didn't take that well. Once Offset saw that Stefan wasn't reacting, he lashed out and started calling Stefan names in an attempt to embarrass him.
Offset off rockers, like, you're crazy. But then again, good Lord, I see why you upset. Look at, like, I see why you mad. Like, baby, the good Lord took his time with Stefan Diggs. That is one gorgeous man. Like, finger licking good, but no. I definitely pray for Cardi. Like, I pray that God keeps, his hand over her kids, her new baby, like that whole situation. Because this is real. Like, it's scary. Like, it's scary. Like, I remember earlier in the year, when Cardi was saying how Offset had, like, threatened her friend.
It was obvious that Offset was upset that his plan didn't shake Stefan the way he wanted. But Stefan wasn't sitting quietly either. He threw a little shade right back when Offset started acting wild online and throwing shots at Cardi. Stefan posted a picture of himself and Cardi at dinner with the caption, "So proud of myself. Who would have ever thought I'd be eating dinner with Cardi B?" He knew exactly what he was doing with that post, and it definitely struck a nerve. The caption hit Offset harder than expected because he snapped almost instantly. He wrote a response saying he sensed something fake and called Stefan a fanboy, clearly irritated. Then he added the shrimp emoji, which anyone with common sense can figure out was meant as another insult. It was petty, but Offset was in full meltdown mode at that point. Things didn't stop there. He even tried to brag by saying his new girl was better, and he claimed he had been with Cardi the week before. Then he went on rambling about people cheating back in 2019, throwing out names and situations that didn't even match the conversation anymore. It felt like he was scrambling, trying to land any hit he could, even if it didn't make sense. Watching this whole back and forth, it's obvious emotions are high and people are saying things just to hurt each other. Every move gets louder, every response gets messier, and the tension keeps climbing like nobody is ready to stop yet. Offset's frustration didn't stop at shady posts. He even slid under one of Cardi's cute picture uploads just to drop a trash can emoji like he couldn't hold back his feelings anymore. Cardi was just showing off her glow, and for some reason he felt the need to jump in with negativity, which made it clear he's been bothered for a long time. It's like Stefan and Cardi growing closer was the final spark that sent his emotions overboard. Meanwhile, Cardi was leveling up nonstop. She dropped a #1 album, her tour was gearing up to sell out, and Stefan's career was staying solid. Everything around them was moving upward like a fresh start. Seeing them win together must have felt like salt on an open wound for Offset, especially knowing he wasn't part of that chapter anymore. But the situation spiraled even further when the woman Offset supposedly hired to lure Stefan into cheating didn't follow through with the plan. Reports started circulating that Offset got furious about it, and that frustration supposedly pushed him into something way darker involving Stefan, which is where things became seriously alarming. The whispers around the situation kept getting heavier, and none of it painted Offset in a good light. Then came the wildest part. Insiders started claiming Cardi had information that Offset allegedly offered someone $100,000 to move against Stefan. Hearing that number alone made people's jaws drop because it sounded desperate and reckless. And what made it even more shocking was the conversation around Offset's financial situation, because the streets weren't exactly saying he was financially strong at the moment. People were already talking about how Offset's spending habits were out of control, while Cardi was the one stacking and investing smartly. Reports said she brought in most of the money during the marriage, and she handled it responsibly, building assets and buying property instead of blowing it all. When their finances were compared, the rumor was that around 95% of the wealth belonged to her, which would explain why Offset seemed to panic during the split. Cardi didn't just have cash, she had real estate too, including their home in Atlanta where she stayed with the kids, and another home in New Jersey where her mother lived. And according to what people were saying, she was set to keep both homes after the breakup. All of this made Offset's situation look way shakier than he tried to portray online, especially when people started pointing out his reputation for spending like money was never going to run out. Some folks even started whispering that Offset was losing popularity, and without Cardi's influence and financial discipline, his lifestyle wasn't sustainable at all. Seeing his reactions online, you could almost sense that panic starting to slip through the cracks. Many were waiting to see what his life would look like without Cardi holding everything together, and the predictions didn't sound pretty. Then there was the talk about him trying to pressure Cardi into giving him alimony, something he reportedly pushed for even while acting like he didn't need anything. The streets were calling it out as strange because people couldn't understand how someone begging for financial help suddenly had $100,000 to throw around on rumors involving a hitman instead of getting real mental health support. Everything about that sounded wild and confusing, especially considering his supposed financial struggles. But here's the part that really made people sit up. Some sources claimed Offset wasn't just dealing with jealousy or heartbreak, he was acting out because he couldn't handle losing control. They said the breakup exposed his insecurities, and seeing Cardi build a stable, happy life without him seemed to flip a switch inside him that he couldn't manage. Everything he tried to push onto Stefan or Cardi looked like desperation mixed with ego, and that mix never ends well. From the outside looking in, the whole thing feels like someone slipping deeper into chaos while trying to hide it behind bravado. And the louder Offset gets, the more people start questioning what's really going on behind closed doors, because none of this behavior looks like someone who has things under control. As more details started bubbling up, people close to the situation claimed Offset's behavior wasn't just about jealousy. It was about losing the image he spent years building. They said Offset was struggling with the idea that Cardi wasn't just moving on emotionally. She was moving on publicly and doing it with someone like Stefan, who had zero interest in playing games. That combination created pressure that Offset didn't seem prepared to handle at all. One insider even said that Offset felt overshadowed because for the first time, he wasn't the person in control of the narrative anymore. Cardi was out there living her life, dropping hits, securing deals, and glowing in every photo, while Stefan stood beside her without adding chaos or drama. Witnessing that kind of stability after years of turbulence with him reportedly pushed Offset into an emotional corner. Another piece of information that popped up was how Offset couldn't stand the fact that Stefan didn't react to his taunts. Every time Offset threw shade, Stefan brushed it off like it was nothing, and that quiet confidence made Offset feel played, even when Stefan wasn't trying to play anyone. It's like Stefan's calmness made Offset's behavior look louder and more chaotic, which only fed into the tension even more. Behind the scenes, folks claimed Offset had been reaching out to people he used to work with, trying to vent or get backup. But even some of his old connections supposedly didn't want to be part of the mess. They said the drama felt too heavy, too unpredictable, and too close to spiraling out of control. And when your own people start distancing themselves, that says a lot. Meanwhile, Cardi wasn't trying to argue about money or attention. She was focused on staying safe and protecting her peace. She continued showing up for her kids, promoting her work, and keeping her circle tight. People said Cardi had grown past the stage of responding to every little jab, and that maturity only seemed to irritate Offset more. He wanted a reaction, but she wasn't giving him the chaos he was hoping for. What made this whole situation even more intense is how Stefan handled everything. Instead of firing back at Offset or making the drama bigger, Stefan kept everything respectful and stayed by Cardi's side quietly. Sources claim he didn't want to add fuel to the situation because he noticed how emotionally unstable things were getting on Offset's end. He chose calm over chaos, and that decision made him look even more grounded. But the deeper issue came from people around Offset saying he wasn't sleeping well, wasn't thinking clearly, and kept replaying moments from the marriage in his head like he couldn't let go. They said he struggled with the idea that life kept moving without him, and he wanted to rewrite the story instead of accepting it. That's where things started getting dangerous, because emotional instability mixed with pride can go left fast. And while all this was unfolding, rumors started spreading that Cardi had gathered more evidence than anyone knew about. People close to her whispered that she'd been documenting Offset's behavior for months, collecting messages, screenshots, voice notes, and timelines, not to blast him, but to protect herself legally if things ever reached a breaking point. Hearing that made everything feel even more serious. One source said Cardi wasn't trying to expose Offset to embarrass him. She was preparing for the possibility that she might need protection in the future. They said she wasn't the type to act recklessly. She was the type to build a case quietly. And if she truly had that kind of documentation, then everyone understood why Offset was panicking under the surface. At this point, people watching the situation unfold could see something clearly. This wasn't just relationship drama anymore. This was emotional chaos turning into something much bigger and much more dangerous. Every day seemed to uncover a new layer, and every layer made the whole story feel heavier. Things took a sharp turn when word got out that officers were officially looking into the situation, and people close to it said Offset might need to start preparing for real legal trouble. Even if nothing went the way he intended, anything that even looks like plotting against someone is still a serious crime, and investigators don't overlook that kind of behavior. The streets reacted fast because this situation wasn't just messy anymore, it was getting dangerous. More receipts surfaced, more claims got tossed around, and Offset's name kept getting dragged